First Home Buyers Essentials. All you need to know to buy your first home sooner. Welcome to First Home Buyers Essentials, Module 3. As usual, we've got our disclaimer. I'll just run through it quickly now because you will have seen it a couple of times. This is general advice, so take that into account. We haven't taken into account your personal situation at this stage. You should consider whether you need to get further advice regarding that. Taxation, financial, legal and other matters referred to are general nature only and based on our interpretation. Again, should take appropriate advice if necessary. And thirdly, I'm an authorised credit representative and a mortgage advisor accredited with the Mortgage Finance Association of Australia. And this is Module 3, your professional team. So our starry-eyed first home buyers here have grand dreams, but they need to know that they need a team. So that's a really key thing that we've known from day one, is that it's really important to get the right people on your team. It doesn't matter whether you're in business or whether you're working or whether you're playing football or whether you're buying a home, you need to get the right people on your team. So you need that in a finance capacity. So we're going to talk about finance, your finance team. We're going to talk about your legal team. We're going to talk about your real estate team. And we're going to talk about your building and pest team. And then there's an extra team that we're talking about, and that's your family and that's your parents specifically. So we're going to talk about that as well and how that can help you on your first home buying journey. But yeah, think about the people that you can put around you as the team that you need to help facilitate this adventure that you're going on. So I want to talk about your finance team. Your finance team is a really important part of the process. It's not the only part of the process, but obviously it's the part that I'm most keenly involved in. So I want to talk to you a bit about the difference between using a mortgage broker and going direct to a bank or a lender, whether that be an online or an offline lender. And there's certain things that mortgage brokers do and have that other lenders do not. And one of those is qualifications. There are qualifications required to be a mortgage broker. There's a minimum entry level of a Cert 4, which is not very exciting. There's a diploma, which is another step up from that, and most brokers are at least diploma qualified. Look, I've got a master's degree in economics. Perhaps I'm a little overqualified, but that's okay. I do bring different skills to the table in terms of analysis and being able to help you in the journey that you want to go on because I've got those extra qualifications. But something else that brokers have to their advantage is that they're able to advise you. They're registered advisors to be able to advise you on your needs, or indeed the best needs, the best outcomes to meet your objectives and your requirements. And we have a range of lenders. Now, every broker says, isn't it amazing we've got a range of 20 or 25 or 30 lenders? Look, every mortgage broker does. If they don't, they're not really a mortgage broker, because you've got to have a wide range of lenders on your panel. We've got 25 or 30. We've got plenty. There's enough to get the job done there. And one of the things which has just come into law now, it's called the best interest duty. This has been enshrined by the federal government recently, following on from the Royal Commission, that mortgage brokers must act in the best interests of their client. Okay, that's not a problem. I've always prided myself on acting in the best interest of my client. So hopefully this might actually weed some people out of the industry that maybe are not doing a great job. But look, fully 60% of Australians are trusting mortgage brokers to help them in their home mortgage journey, and that's because of qualifications, advice, range of lenders and best interest duty now as well. So if you go direct to a bank or a lender, you're only going to get one set of products and policy. That's okay if that fits and if that suits you, but sometimes you won't know until you've been into the bank or you've called up the lender or whatever. You've got to fit their policy and you've got to fit their product box, and they'll only tell you what they've got. They won't give you a range and a choice. And in terms of DIY, there's difference between going to a bank or maybe going to an online lender and the levels of support that you'll get. You certainly won't get support from a broker because there's no compensation to a broker for you going directly to someone else. So there's no support from that perspective. I have found with some clients that have ended up going to an online lender, they've come back to me later on because they didn't get the support and the advice that they need to help them with their transaction and to meet their objectives. And that's the support conversation that I'm just talking about. So next I want to talk about your real estate team. There are a few people on your real estate team, or there could be, but most important thing about getting started on that process is understanding exactly what you need. And that's why we went through that process that we went through with the last module. So once you know what you need, you can speak to a buyer's agent or speak to a real estate agent and be able to find the property that suits what you're looking for. And you need to find someone who'll help you get what you want. The difference between real estate agents and buyer's agents, well, a real estate agent works for the vendor. So they're trying to sell a property to you on behalf of someone else. They're not acting for you, they're acting for the seller. A buyer's agent, on the other hand, works for the buyer and only the buyer. They do have relationships with real estate agents, which allows them to get properties maybe before they come on the market. But what they also do is they have a deep knowledge of the market to be able to negotiate properties and negotiate prices so that they can get the best outcome for you, their customers. So that's what the difference is between a buyer's agent and a real estate agent. Real estate agent acts for vendor, buyer's agent acts for you. A buyer's agent might charge a fee, they will charge a fee, and that will be either a flat fee or it'll be a percentage based on the property, and they're both relevant and depends on their business model how that will work. But you can have a look at that as an option to doing all of the hard work yourself. It might be something that's worth considering if you've got a little bit more resources up your sleeve. So another team that you need people to help you with is with building and pest inspections. Lenders don't generally require copies of these reports anymore, generally. They usually rely on a valuation report. But if anything comes up afterwards, it's your problem as the buyer. So again, it's worth protecting yourself and getting the right people on board to be able to help you there. So a building inspector will check on the structural integrity of a property. They'll look at safety issues, if there's any necessary repairs, and try to make sure that there's no nasty surprises when you're buying. So that does give you some comfort around the property. And it's important to do that, especially for houses. Home units are a little bit different, but houses, townhouses, and duplexes, I would certainly always recommend that you get a building inspection done, because that at least then you know what your baseline is in terms of the property's integrity and if there's any repairs. And of course you don't want any nasty surprises. And that's the same reason that you'll get a pest inspection done, because those little blighters, those termites, can make an awful mess of a house. And termites and borers and rot, and they're all things that undermine, again, the structural integrity of a property, but it's not something that will necessarily come out in a building report, which is why you'll often get them done separately, because there's different experts in their field who'll look at them differently, and of course they're licensed to do different things as well. So as I say, lenders don't always require a copy of these. They used to, not so much anymore. They leave it up to you, the purchaser, to moderate your own risk in this regard, and that's why we recommend that you have a building and pest team on your side as well. So the final part of your team, I believe, which is really important, is your parents. They are part of your family team, but they're part of your financial team as well. And why do I say they're part of your financial team? Well, because there's a thing called family pledge or guarantor loans, and certainly your parents, if they have a property which has equity available in it, can actually reduce the amount of deposit that you need, or they can reduce the amount of mortgage insurance that you'll need to pay if you don't have access to the federal government scheme. So they're very helpful in terms of providing support from a practical perspective. The responsibility for a loan under a family pledge is certainly still your responsibility. However, they're providing a bit of a bonus in terms of the security that is available to support that loan. I am going to cover these in quite a bit of detail in the finance modules down the track, but that's just a basic rundown of how they work. So mum and dad put up a portion or a part of their property as partial security to secure the remainder of the loan, which is over that 80%. Also, there's the bank of mum and dad, of course, and for a first-time buyer, they can be very, very helpful indeed. They might be able to lend you some money to help with some of those costs, and that's generally where they come in. They come in for most people, either on the family pledge side of things, or maybe with a bit of cash support when you're buying. Here's our summary of learnings for this module. Only a fairly short module, this one. So we looked at our finance team. They help you facilitate the finance. We help you facilitate the finance. We discussed the differences between using a broker versus using or going directly to a bank, and the different advantages you could have from using a broker. As I say, 60% of Australians do write their home loans through mortgage brokers because of those advantages. The legal team, you need to have the legal team on your side, of course, but you need them to facilitate the transaction for you. They manage the transaction and they provide advice. Whether you use a conveyancer or a solicitor, that's up to you. There can be a difference in price or in cost, but certainly there's a different value conversation as well, because there's extra advice that could be provided to you by a solicitor who's reviewing contracts and so on as part of the process. So in respect of our summaries of learnings around our real estate team, we did talk about real estate agents and buyer's agents and how they have different roles in the process. The real estate agent acts for the vendor, and the buyer's agent works for you, the purchaser. And they both bring their own skills to the fore, but certainly a buyer's agent is something that you could consider as a first home buyer, because they have access to many properties that you don't necessarily find in the listings, and they have a very clear idea of what value is in a market, so they can provide an option for you to meet your objectives, and perhaps at lower cost, even though you have to pay them a fee for the pleasure of them working for you. But that's the way we do business. Building and pest are really important as well, because they help provide you almost with an insurance policy around the home that you're buying. You want to have no nasty surprises when you're buying a home, and certainly having a building inspection and a pest inspection as part of your pre-purchase process is very helpful in terms of being able to accomplish that. It really is insurance for your new purchase, and it will give you a lot of comfort that what the property you are buying is suitable for you. The final part of our team is our parents, and they can be there to provide a family pledge in terms of a loan and providing extra support. We used to call it going guarantor. Now it's family pledge or family support, and it's done by parents putting up part of their property to assist you in buying. They can also provide other support, whether that's financial, certainly emotional, and certainly in the case of my children, it's been moving house for them as well. But let's see how that works out for you.